Hello everyone. Today we have our guest Hakan Sahsivar. He's a real estate agent, and today we will discuss how we can buy a house in US. Hakan, thank you for coming. Can you tell me, if I just came to US and I just start working, can I get a house?
So yes and no. The first thing that you need to do is getting a pre-approval from a bank. And to be able to get a pre-approval, what they're going to look for your credit score, credit history. And to be able to buy a house, you need to have at least 1 year of history. So sometimes they are being able to get it done by looking at your payments, or sometimes they're checking your overseas activities. I don't know that detail so much, but sometimes it's been done by doing some techniques, which I'm not really familiar. And also the other thing that you have to have some down payment, at least 3%. And 3%, 5% is better, or 20% is way better. If you don't have 20%, don't worry about it. Still, you can buy it. And these are the first things that you can get a pre-approval. Once you have a pre-approval, then you can start looking for a house with a real estate agent.
Okay, so first thing, I need to have a work, and I need to work either on 1099 or W2. Which one is preferable?
That's for sure. I missed that part. If you don't have work, if you're not working, that's not possible. So if you have a secure income, then that's a big step. Secure income is like W2 is the best. If you're working with W2, the other thing that they are going to look for your work history. You need to have at least 2 years of work history. So, but again, if you are a newcomer, you don't have that work history, you don't need to wait 2 years. Sometimes banks are also counting your, back history in your country, work history in your country. So that's also another option. Not always, but sometimes if you can prove it, they can also count it. Your 2 year work history, your credit score, 1 year of credit score, your income, W2 income. Also, if you are a self-employed, that's kind of little challenging to buy a house with self-employment income, because they're looking for 2 year of income. They're averaging by dividing the total income by 24 months. So, there's a calculation, we call it debt ratio. So they're going to allow you to pay 50% of your income for the mortgage. I'm talking about the mortgage payments. So, catching that amount with that 24 months is not easy. So these are, some of the factors. There are many other factors, but these are some of the factors. But don't be scared. The best thing, what I recommend always, apply to a loan with a lender, with a loan officer, to see what is your situation, where you are at. So what is missing? So later on down the road, you can also complete those missing ones.
Okay, so when we say self-employed, does it mean like we work for 1099 or we work for the...
That's what it means. W2 is being employee. If you're not an employee, you are on yourself. You're not getting W2. You're self-employed. Either 1099 or you are doing Amazon. Selling on Amazon or websites or labor, doesn't matter. They're all self-employment.
Okay, so they take your full income and they divide into 24 months. And if you have that, 50%, you can cover with the amount that you have for 24 months with the 50%, then it means they will give you pre-approval.
You have to have tax returns.
Okay.
So what they're doing, they are looking at your taxable income. So not the gross income after deductions. But still, it's not that easy to calculate, because there are if there are depreciations on your tax return, it's also being added to your income. I don't want to give too much detail here because it's going to be confusing. But overall, if your net income is enough, let's say, for example, your net income is $50,000 for the first year, Next year, your net income is, let's say, $25,000. Overall, $75,000 for 2 years is going to be divided by 24. They are going to find your monthly income, averaging your monthly income. You are eligible to pay for your debts, half of it, 50% of your monthly income. So let's say your monthly income is $5,000. Let's make it simple. With $5,000, you are allowed to pay up to $5,000. $25,000 of that $5,000 for your debts, not only for your home and also for your car, credit cards. If you have car, this is also one thing that I wanted to tell. If you're planning to buy a car, don't buy it before buying a house because it's going to kill your debt ratio. So you're not going to be able to purchase a house. Actually, still you can buy a house if your income is high. But if your income is at the limit, it's going to kill your debt ratio.
Okay. So it's better if you bought the car 2 years ago and you still have the payment, does it still affect it?
It is going to affect, definitely. Sometimes it's being a killer, affecting a lot of my clients. Purchase capacity. Like if you are being able to, without a car, if you can purchase let's say $300,000 house, then if you have a car, it depends how much you're paying for the car also, and it'll go down to maybe $200,000. I'm just making it up. These numbers are not real, but it's really going to affect how much you can purchase.
Okay. And once we have this pre-approval, so we are all set to look for a house, right? And how this house looking process works like?
So once you have a pre-approval, pretty much we know how much you are allowed to, how much up to we can go for. Let's say you have $500,000, then we will be in that limit. We don't want to go beyond $500,000. Then up to $500,000, we will be looking for a house together with an agent. For example, we are guiding you, you are guiding us, because we are giving our expertise, but we want to know what you're looking for. I don't know. There's no I cannot really tell you have to buy this house because everybody's criteria is different. So since that is the thing, then we keep looking until we find out what you really wanted to buy. Then the process starts. We are giving an offer. If the offer is accepted, there's a negotiation process. If everything goes well, then we are going under contract. Then still there are other phases. I don't want to get to there now.
Okay.
But after getting our contract signed, executed from both parties, that where start. Still we don't know because there's a loan process. It's also something that we need to consider. Sometimes it doesn't go well. It may fail. And also there's the inspection phase. It may not go well. There are sometimes findings which might be a deal breaker. So this is kind of pretty much the whole process.
Okay, so what we need to pay attention when we get the house? What kind of, when we get into the house, right? What we need to look at in the house? So what's the most important things?
So actually, I can't specifically say like this is where you need to look at it. I can't say everything. But what we're doing, we're also getting help from expertise. So it depends, like if you're buying a single family or if you're buying a condo or townhome with association. If it is a single family, there are more places that you need to be aware of or be careful about because it's more broader, roof, yard, everything is in your responsibility. But if it is a townhome or condo, well, we're paying attention just interior of the house if outside is covered by the HOA. So, and also we need to look at the HOA documents. It's a whole process. There are details. We are guiding. We are letting the buyer know that we gotta be careful about this. If we know, to be honest, I'm doing it that way. If I see something which I'm not happy with, I wanted to point that out to my client. If he's okay with that, I'm okay. But first of all, I wanted to mention about it. This is something that I'm worried about. for example, they are saying, no, we know this detail, but we are okay with it. So I can't really say specifically, look at this part. Overall, everything is important, depending on your situation as well.
Okay, so what's a HOA?
HOA, Homeowner Association. So if you're sharing your walls, a part of your home with others, a community, sideways, you are using, and there's an HOA, there's a organization, actually part of your, there's a community, they are managing outside of your home. Okay. It's actually you. There's a board. Board is elected by community members, and then they are hiring a management organization. Sometimes for some small communities, they are doing everything by themselves. But if it is a big community, they are hiring professionals from outside. So we call it HOA.
Okay, does all houses having the HOA or some specific ones?
There are some which doesn't have HOA. They do actually, but maybe it's not implemented. It's not working. If it is a small couple unit building, for example, there should be, because there is common area which needs to be taken care of, right? So, for example, you have grasses outside. Who is going to cut it? Or maybe garbage bin outside. Who's going to pay for it? Or there's a shared electricity or utilities. Who is going to pay for it? If something happens to the roof, who is going to take care of it? So people are coming together, all the unit owners. They're saying, hey, let's make some rules, okay? If something breaks or happens, we have to decide there should be a set of rules. This simply, I'm just giving a simple example. We call it HOA, Homeowner Association.
Okay.
They are getting organized, making some set of rules. So that's what it is. They're collecting some fees for this type of breakdowns down the road. This is HOA fee. Sometimes it's $200. Sometimes it is $100. Sometimes it is $500, depending on the amenities or what HOA provides, what it covers.
Okay. So they hire some third-party management company, and they manage that HOA.
So if it is a big community, again, for example, we are all busy, right? Okay, we get together. We're 4 or 5 guys, and who is going to take care of the roof? Or who is going to do the snow plowing? You're busy, I'm busy. So, okay, we are hiring a snow plower, or we can find a guy who can take care of outside. But who is responsible for this? Like, instead of, like, if it is, let's say it's 100 condo community, then you are hiring a professional HOA company. They are taking care of everything. They are collecting your fees. They are finding those guys. If something breaks, they are the responsible party. They are finding it out. They are taking care of it.
Okay. So when I'm getting into the house, let's say I'm buying the house, if I will turning on the lights and light is not working, is it something major that I need to worry about? What do I need to mostly worry about in the house?
For me, there are some items very simple, but for some buyers, some clients, that item might be major.
Okay.
So I don't want to say a light bulb is nothing. To me, it's nothing. It's not a big deal. But some people are being so scared of it, so they want to back out. Even for that thing, they wanted to cancel it. For my perspective, what I'm scared of, like the foundational problems, or maybe, the big items means, in my perspective, big ticket items, big cost items.
Big cost, exactly, big expense.
Yeah, big expenses. Everything can be repairable, but after you purchase the home, probably your cash is going to be drained. You no longer have that much cash on side. Yeah. Even $1,000 is big deal for some people. There are some guys who are handy, who can really take care of it, manage it. So it's really hard to tell this is big item. or not big item. Well, and also depending on how much you're paying for that house. You understand? If you're buying as is, you know the condition of the house, you're not expecting too much. You know that everything is old, but you are buying a cheap or good price from the good amount. So you should be able to just, assume it. If you cannot assume it, if you're not ready to spend $5,000, $10,000 after the fact, after you purchase your purchase is done, you shouldn't be doing it. As I said, some buyers are very knowledgeable; they know what they're doing. Some buyers are first-time home buyers; they're scared of everything. I understand them. It's like owning a car for the first time.
Yeah,
you understand. You're so.
Okay.
And also, I understand, you may not have even money on site to change the oil.
Yeah.
So that's similar. But,
Yeah.
for example, engine, that's a big issue, right? If it fails, it's a lot of money. That's true. For the same thing, for the home, for me, foundational issues are still some issues are manageable. I'm just looking at the cost, how much it is.
Recently, one of my friends bought a house in Florida, and in his house, he found out that he has a mold under the floor, and he needed to fix that. What he needs to do in this kind of situation, he bought the house as is, so it means he will fix those things, correct?
As it doesn't mean definitely. If he purchased it, it's really hard to deal with the seller. If, let's say, the sellers are giving, this is an important item. Normally, if you're buying a house, sellers always need to provide you a disclosure. If they know a problem with the house, they have to disclose it. So they are giving you a form, we call it disclosure. Both parties, buyer and seller, is signing it. If the seller knows an issue and didn't disclose it on the form, and you knew that, if you can prove that that is hidden by the seller, they didn't let you know on purpose, then you can go to court. But again, it's really hard to prove that he didn't know it. Maybe it's true, he didn't, he wasn't aware of the mold, right? So, but this is the thing, that's why we are hiring an inspector to check everything. But still, the inspector is a human being. They can do wrong. I don't want to say wrong, but they can miss some parts. They are human being. We cannot sit behind the wall. So that's possible. But again, it's cost related. Still fixable. That mold can be removed, remediated, cleaned by professional companies. But probably it's going to cost you $5,000 if you're ready for it. Okay. So I'm always telling my buyers, my clients, be ready for some items. You never know. Sometimes we are buying a house. After a month, your freezer is being broken. Your stove is not working. Something happens to your stove. Or a pipe burst. This doesn't happen always, but it could happen. You should be ready for it. That's why you shouldn't be, spending all your money to your furniture, your repairs, your updates. Always save some money on site, just for precaution.
Got it. So what are the biggest expenses? You said it's a foundation. What else? What kind of other things needs to be?
It could be anything. Like, I'm scared. Usually, this is my, again, personal thing. I saw some foundational issues. I'm not talking about the small minor cracks. They're so common. Like, if a house is shifting, sinking, you understand? A foundational, a break in the footing. So that would affect really the house's condition. Sometimes it's leaning one side. So you're feeling it. So correct, the professionals, foundation companies can stop it, maybe fix it, but it's not going to be back. It's not, they cannot reverse it. You understand? They can stop it, but you'll feel some kind of tiltness. You understand? So I don't like that situation at all. And termite is my biggest fear. Some states, they're okay with it. but it's not common here. I don't want to say common. In my entire career, I saw it a couple times. That's it. But I heard that in southern states it's common, but I don't know. I heard that. So they are used to it. There are some techniques. There are some treatment plans, but I saw a house which was completely, invaded by termites. It was scary. It was really scary for me. I said like, oh my gosh, I cannot buy this home at all. So even I can stop it. There's a treatment plan, but still, I don't like that situation. So I can't really say, watch this, watch that. So there's no specific item. So that house is old. If you're buying a old house, you got to look at the big items, big ticket items. Roof, how old is it? It could last 20 to 30 years. Okay. If it is 28 years old, then be ready. It's expensive, right?
Yeah.
Look for the windows. Okay, you can go with it for a couple more years, but at the end, you have to change it. It's big ticket item. Or kitchen. If you're going to update your kitchen, add those values to the value that you purchased from, if it is going to worth. This is my approach when I'm buying a house. So otherwise, if you're okay with the condition, some people are okay. They don't like to update too much. With the paint cleanup, that's fine for some families. That's okay. I'm not really, I can't say you don't buy this home. You understand? If you know what you're doing, how much you need to, it's like buying an old car.
Okay.
Absolutely same thing. Buying an old car. You know the condition of the tire. You know it is 150,000 miles. It's coming to the end. You should spend money, but what you're buying it from? You cannot buy a brand new home.
Yeah.
Then you should go with it.
Okay, I understand. Okay, so what about the location of the houses? Like where it's good to look the house for? Like what you need to, like how you gotta select the location for yourself?
So location-wise, it's again it's hard to say buy your home from this area. There's not such a thing. So from my experience, I want to mention about my clients' experiences. So some people are buying a house nearby their community, near their friends. A house, for example, cost related. Some people are buying a house which is cost effective. It might be farther away, but it's cheap. In some communities, the prices are lower. Then they are okay to go there. Some people are looking for school-based areas. So if the schools are in good rates, so that's what they're focusing on. Or specific school. If they wanted to send their kid to a school only, a specific school only, what they wanted to choose, they're looking a house nearby. So it's really hard to tell again. I'm going everywhere. If there's a specific place everybody needs to go, then you should understand everybody's going to be there. It's not possible. It's not logical. But again, what is your priority? And I'm also telling, like when you're buying a house, you cannot buy your dream home. If you have 10 priorities, make it 3. You cannot find that 10 priorities, 10 most things that you wanted to have in one place, on one single house. So you have to eliminate most of them. Make the first 3 of them. Which one you like most? For example, I'm living in an area where my community is located. So I'm stuck there now because my kids are going to the school. Because of my kids' school, I cannot move somewhere else. Even I keep seeing a lot of different good homes. Even I wanted to buy a home, let's say in a good place or brand new home in a good reasonable price, I cannot move out until some certain time when my kids graduated. Yeah. So this is my situation. It may be different for you, right? So I cannot say really buy from here. Some people like city, they like to go downtown. Some people like emptiness. You understand? Privacy, nature. So it's kind of also choice.
Okay, I understand. So let's say we got a house, right? We like the house. How we get into the contract? How does that work?
So we call it offer. We're writing the contract. I mean, me, realtors. We're using a standard contract. Those contracts are given to us by our boards. So we are not doing anything. We cannot do anything on the contract. We're just filling the blanks. What those blanks are, the purchase price, how much we are offering to the seller, and how much earnest money. We call it earnest money. It goes to your down payment, but we have to give offer and earnest money. What is our closing date? What date we can close? Usually a month or maximum 2 months. Maximum, it's not maximum, there's no limit, but seller doesn't like. You have to agree on it. And then your condition. What is your condition? Like how you're gonna buy, with cash, with loan, and a couple other terms like your attorneys and inspection period. And if you wanted to add more terms on the contract, this is the contract that we are determining. We call it offer. We send it to the seller's agent. They are looking at it. They are discussing. They are coming with either accepting the contract or with a counter. We call it counter offer. So they are making another offer to us. So this kind of negotiation, we are negotiating with the seller and buyer. You understand? Until we find the common ground or we accept each other's terms. So then we are writing up the new contract, or making a new contract, and both parties signs and the contract is executed. We call it executed. Executed contract. Then the terms start. Next steps comes later.
Okay. Is it a last step that you can go back after that, or you still can cancel the contract?
That's a good point. Yeah. Once you sign a contract, there are some steps. You are not being bound. It doesn't mean you bought the house right away. So there are some steps. For example, there is in Illinois here, there are 5 business days for attorney and inspection. You can find an attorney to go over the contract. That attorney can do any kind of modification on the contract, because we cannot give legal advice. We are just agents. We can only fill in the blanks. So with your attorney, you can go into legal sides of the contract, positives, negatives, or like size of the contract. What you should be aware of it. You can discuss all these details with the attorney. Let's say we miss something. Attorney can touch that part. Attorney can modify that part. Even attorney can just cancel the contract within that 5 days. And since we have that 5-day period, we are doing inspection. So inspection has still 5-day business day period on the contract. It's also matching with the attorney. That's why it's going together. We can hire an inspector, a professional licensed inspector, to check the house. So let's say we found an inspector and we checked the house. There are some findings. You can still negotiate those findings with the seller if you're not buying as is. Still, it doesn't, even you buy as is, people understand as is something different than what it is, because they think as is means like there is a problem with the house. It doesn't mean that. As is means like there might be, but seller is saying there might be issues. They send all the house, but I'm not going to do anything. I'm not guaranteeing you anything is working in working condition. If you're buying in this condition, buy it. So you don't have to buy. Let's say you took your expertise, inspector to the house, and he said, these are the findings, these are the problems. If they're too much for you, you can cancel it. Only thing that you're gonna spend for your inspection, a couple $100, maybe $400 or $500, depending on the size of the house. It might be more or less. And this, then other steps comes. Let's say you pass the inspection period, everything is okay. You assume let's say the findings, problems. You said okay for them. Maybe there's no problem. It's a new home. You're going to the next step, lending. You are working with your lender for the rest of the steps. If you can finish the process within that period of time that you put on the contract for the closing date, we give usually 30 days. Within 30 days, if you can finish it, we are closing the house. If you cannot finish it, if the land is, a lot of things are happening, right? Some documents are being late or missing, so it can be delayed. We are still negotiating with the seller to get more extra time. Within, let's say, 40 days, we got clear to close. We call it clear to close, full approval from the bank. Then we are going and sitting on the table, closing the house, signing everything, mostly bank documents, loan documents, mortgage documents, and you're being the owner on that date. After signatures are done, signed, you're the owner of the house. If, let's say, it didn't go well, something happened, you lost your job, God forbid, you lost your job, or it's a human being, it's life, anything can happen, and then you couldn't complete your loan process. Lender is not approving your conditions. What happens? Lending is denying your loan. If you get a denial from the lender, with that denial, you are canceling the contract, and then you are taking your earnest money back. Then after that, the house goes back to market. You are maybe seeing some houses on Redfin, Zillow, or some platforms, Realtor.com. There are a lot of platforms, but you are seeing some houses are coming back to the market.
Yes.
Reactivated.
Yes.
Either inspection or attorney or loan.
Okay.
Just because of this. That's why we call it contingent. On the website, it's called contingent. Contingent means based on these factors you're buying, so it can come back to market.
Okay. Either it can be the lawyer can return it back, right? Can find some reason. Second, it's the inspection. They can find some reason in the house. Or third, you are not getting approval from the bank.
Correct.
Loan.
That's also a factor.
So this loan process, so I understood the lawyer, inspection, the lender process. So how that go? What do we do with the lender, and what the lender helps you with?
So when you first apply for a pre-approval, they are looking at just preliminary data. What it means, like just trying to see if you have a down payment, if your credit score is above some points limits, let's say 700, and then your income. They're trying to verify your income. Some basic stuff. After you get into contract, they are going into details. They are verifying your employment. They might need verification letters or forms from your employer. And then they are checking your bank statement. They don't want to see the number only. They want to see the history of the bank statement. They're looking back 60 days back of your history. Where if the money, let's say for down payment, if the money comes in your sources, if you didn't, and also for credit score, credit history, they are checking in detail. If everything goes well, and also they are sending an appraiser to the house. Sometimes they can waive it if you're buying at a good price, if the system accepts it with the price that you're purchasing. Sometimes they're waiving it, but a lot of times they wanted to send an appraiser and check the price of the house and the condition of the house. Then they're checking the house condition and trying to match the number that you're buying for. Okay. So if it goes well, and let's say everything went well, and then they are giving you a full approval. That's the whole process. By that time, you are going to provide a lot of documents.
Okay, so they just check your income, they call your employer, verify that you are actually working, right? Your bank statement for the last 60 days, whatever transactions you had, right? If you have some suspicious transaction, they have a reason to reject your loan.
So yeah, for example, you have to have 5% down.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say that is the loan that you applied to. In for that 5%, you show a number on your bank account. That is okay, verified. And also, you might need to put closing costs on top of it as well. Just exactly 5% is not be sufficient. So maybe $10,000 closing cost. It's not going to be that much, to be honest. But first, I'm giving these numbers just in case, $5,000 to $10,000. So let's say you have $30,000 in your bank account, which was sufficient in the beginning. But later on, if let's say bank is just looking at your bank transactions, they saw that $20,000 is coming from somewhere recently deposited. They're going to ask it, what is this money for? Let's say you said, I sold my car, right? I deposited that money, proceeds from my sale. They're going to ask for documents. Show us, like, where did you sell? When did you sell? Bill of sale. Be ready for everything. You have to be able to document if you have that type of money coming in. Let's say your parents send it from overseas, maybe from here. Your sister, your brother helped you. So they are going to look for gift letter. Let's say a friend of you gave you loan. That's a killer. Because you cannot buy a house. You cannot use your down payment with other loans, loans from other parties. It should be your own money, own sources. So these are happening. Sometimes people are, this is also an important item that I wanted to mention, changing employer. Once you sign a contract, if everything starts there, right in the middle of the process, don't change your employer. If you're planning to change it before. Life is different, so I cannot really say that. A lot of things happening, right? Let's say that is the case. That may delay, sometimes really affect in a bad way if you're changing your employer, because they need to do all these things, verify your income, right? It's going to delay the process, sometimes cancel the process. So these are all details playing factor in the loan process. Don't buy a car at the middle of the transaction. Don't get any loan. Don't apply for credit card. Don't do anything. Just freeze, because it can affect your loan process. So sometimes it's happening.
Okay. So that's when we get a clear to closed, right? Clear to close means everything is clear and you're ready to close.
Yes.
What happens in that closing day? What's a close day?
So the closing date is the day we are getting the house. I mean, being owner of the house. So closing date, what we do, within 24 hours, maybe day prior, closing date, we are visiting the house. We are checking if everything is in place, still working as it before, still in good, clean shape. Everybody is moved out. Then we are going to title company or attorney's office or somewhere. They decide, both attorney, seller's attorney and buyer's attorney, they are finding the place. And then they are calling us to that place. That day, we are wiring or getting a check from the bank for the down payment for 5% or 20%, whatever it is. So that day we have to get the money to the title company. Title company is an insurance company. And what they do, they are bringing parties, bringing all the money in, bringing parties, getting signatures, notarizing the signatures, and delivering the ownership to the buyer, and dispersing those payments. Bank has to wire the money to the title company. All the money is coming, and disbursements, attorney fees, loans of the seller, and your down payment to the lending company, your loan, your bank, and they are securing everything. They are just organizing everything, and then they are taking care of the paperwork. Understand? And also, you are purchasing an insurance. We call it title insurance from that company. That's also important item. And title insurance, they are guaranteeing, they are insuring your title. We call it title. So definition might be slightly different than our countries, but ownership of the house, you can simply say that. So they want to give you a clean title without any problems coming from, past, because it's not a brand new home. You're not the first owner. Priorly, even you are the first owner, you still need some security, because this is a big asset. It's almost, let's say for here, $500,000. You don't want headache down the road, right? You need a clear title. So you need a party who can guarantee it, who can insure it, right? That's where what that is, title insurance. Yeah. And those companies are also securing everybody's signature and the payments. They don't want any lien on the property.
Okay.
You understand? That's the whole situation.
Who comes to the how it happens? Like, who comes to the closing day? What's going on?
So nobody sees each other. So everybody is thinking that sellers, buyers, attorneys, a lot of people coming together. Changing the signature, paper in between. No, it's not happening. In here, I don't know other states, but in Illinois, we don't see anybody. We are being with our attorney alone. So seller is doing that part with themselves alone, but the signed paperwork is coming to the title. Also, on counterpart, we are signing our paperwork, the buyer's paperwork, and then title company is bringing them together, sending those papers to related parties. County for recording the title, bank for their copies, what they need. To you, what you need. They're giving you a package. To seller, what they need. Attorneys. So they're the one who's distributing all those signed paperwork.
Okay. You're just only with your attorney, right?
You're alone with your attorney. And if you want, you with your family members.
Okay. So here in the family members, so let's say I'm buying the house and I want to include my wife to my house, so she also owns the house. Can I do that? And if yes, then what are the options?
So yes, you can do it. I personally do it. This is the benefit of it. But you have to go with the bank. You have to let the bank know that you want to do it, because bank should approve it. Don't do it last minute. It's just delaying the process. It's another headache. At the closing, sometimes even at the closing table this is happening, but it's affecting the process. It's taking more time, making more stress. So you can include your wife's name on the title. That's good thing, because God forbid something happens to you, then your wife is automatically going to be the owner of the home, and so she doesn't need to court. She doesn't need to go to court. You understand? So having your wife's name on the title, from my perspective, is a good thing.
Is she going to be also like a how we call it? She also responsible for that loan?
No. Again, if you're buying together, she's automatically going to be on the title and on loan documents. You bought, if she's working, your income is not sufficient, you're buying together, right?
Yes.
Then that's true. She's going to be on the title and on the loan documents. But if you're buying a loan, you're married, you wanted to have your wife's name on the title, just do it by letting that your attorney and the bank know that you wanted to have your wife's name on the title. That's it.
But she will not be responsible for the loan, right?
Technically, she's not going to be on the loan, but let's say you're not going to pay, she's not going to pay, bank is going to foreclose it.
Okay.
She doesn't mean anything. So even she is responsible or not, but if you're asking me, she's not going to be affected personally
Yeah.
if the home goes to foreclosure.
Correct.
That's true. She may not be affected because she's not on the loan, but at the end you're losing the house.
So we get the key, right? And this house is already on your hand, and now there is no option to go back and cancel the house, correct? So you can go back. Can you, let's say you made a down payment 5% or 10%. Can you make early payments for your payment in the future?
That's a good point. Yeah, you can pay however you want. You have to pay the minimums, the bills that coming from the bank. You have to pay it in full. Okay, but on top of it, if you wanted to make extra payments, you're allowed to make those extra payments, which is going to help you to pay it off sooner. If it is a 30-year loan, you can finish it in 10 years, 5 years, 20 years, even a year. Doesn't matter. You're not going to be penalized. You're not going to get any penalty, early payment penalty, which is a good thing, great thing. So by paying those extra payments, you are saving that much, the amount of the interest. So let's say your interest rate is 7%. Whatever you're making, let's say in a year, you made extra $20,000. You save 7% of that $20,000 already.
Okay. So you can make early payment without any penalty.
No penalty for the early
can
payment.
close 5-10 years.
You can do it. No problem.
Okay. So let's say the rate changed. Let's say after 2 years, 5 years, it dropped from right now we have rate 7, right? It dropped to 4 or 5. Can you get that rate for your loan, or you have this fixed 7% rate?
So you have to refinance it to take advantage of it. You have to go to you can go to the same bank or find another bank, but you have to refinance it.
How do you refinance it?
Refinancing means like moving your loan from one bank to another, or you understand, paying off the existing loan with another loan. You're getting let's say you have a credit card debt, which is high interest. You found another offer, let's say lower interest. You're getting that cash out, paying this off. Same thing, similar thing.
Yeah.
But there's a cost to do this. It's about like, sometimes they're giving an offer, but average $2,500, maybe $2,000.
So there is a refinance fee, correct?
There's bank should charge for the service that they are giving. So this is origination fee or bank fee.
So there is a property tax, right? What's a property tax? It's like yearly tax amount for every property we pay. Let's say when we bought the house, the property tax was a different amount, and after some time it got increased. What you need to do with that? Should you go with the increased amount, or we can reduce it somehow?
So property tax is everywhere. So you have to pay property tax. You're not paying directly a lot of times. A lot of times your bank is taking care of it for you with an escrow amount. This is important because I saw that some new buyers are missing this point, because they are assuming that, let's say your monthly payment is $3,000. They're going to make that $3,000 for 30 years. I'm going to come to your question because I wanted to start from here because of my experience with my clients that they're missing this part.
Okay.
So for example, that $3,000, just maybe $2,000 goes to your loan payment. $2,000 is not going to change for 30 years. That's true. If you're not refinancing your loan. If you make that payment for 30 years, it's going to be $2,000. But bank is taking $3,000. What they're doing with that extra $1,000, they are paying your property tax and insurance for you. We call it escrow account. They are putting that money into an escrow account. It's a bank account. You have no control, but your bank account. The bank is controlling for you. So that's an extra thing for the bank. But I recommend people have that. Sometimes some banks are giving an option to the buyer that they can also pay their property taxes. But I like to go with escrow because they are installing it. They're taking that money with installments. You don't need to pay lump sum when the bill comes. Property taxes are high. Let's say $10,000 a year. Instead of paying $1,000 or less than $1,000 per month, you have to pay. You have to pay in 2 installments. $5,000 in front of you, all of a sudden, unexpected. You're not gonna be happy. So what you're doing, you are giving $3,000 to the bank. That $1,000 goes to the escrow. Whenever the bill comes, bank is taking care of it. Whenever your insurance company sends a bill to the bank is paying it. But here is the point. Since bank doesn't know details of those bills, because you are the one who is setting up, you are the one who is purchasing insurance, and you should be also applying for, let's say, exemptions, property tax exemptions, or appeals. So bank doesn't care. They are going to pay whatever the bill comes in to them. So sometimes if the tax goes up or your insurance bill goes up, it's going to drain your bank account, the escrow account. Let's say they are taking $1,000 extra, like because it's $3,000. $2,000 goes to your loan, $1,000 goes into your escrow. Let's say for 1 year they collected. I'm just making this assumption. 1 year there is $10,000 in your bank account. Let's say they were assuming at the beginning, they were budgeting at the beginning that your property tax is going to be, let's say, $8,000, right? Or with the insurance, it's going to be $10,000. They collected that much amount. Yeah. If your tax bill comes, let's say more, $11,000, and then right after your insurance bill comes with another $2,000, it's going to be more. It's going to drain your account. It's going to be negative. So bank is going to come back to you. They're going to either increase, and also actually not either. They're going to increase your monthly payment. Probably they're going to make your monthly payment $1,500 because they're going to say, hey, this $1,000 is not enough. We have to collect $1,500 for insurance and property taxes. Then you're being surprised. First-time home buyers are being always surprised. They're saying, I wasn't expecting this. So I like to mention this very carefully, that you should be aware of it. After 1 year or 2 years, sometimes 3 years, you may get extra payment, extra bill from the bank to cover the difference. What you can do, not to have the situation, watch your escrow. How is it going? Watch your insurance payments. You may find a good deal, $1,000 insurance, but down the road, after a year or later, it can go up to $2,000, $2,500, $3,000. You have to be careful. If it is needed, you have to call your insurance company, negotiate it, or change your insurance company. And also for property taxes, you have to be careful. If you're first year, you should apply for property tax exemption. It's around like $1,000 a year. So you shouldn't be missing it. Even you miss it, you can still go back and request that the missed exemption. But there are some rules. I'm not going into details. So, and also, every 3 years, county is reassessing the houses. So they are charging you, the tax amount is being determined by the value of the house, assessment value. We call it assessment every 3 years in Cook County. Other counties might be different. I don't know, but I live in Cook County. I'm very familiar with the Cook County. So those, 3 years, when reassessed, your house is reassessed, they are sending you a letter. The letter comes from the county. Just be careful about it. Read it. Don't put it on side. people are missing those papers, those mails. So if you disagree with the amount on the reassessment, that reassessed amount is higher than what it is normally supposed to be, you can object. You can go back and tell. It's not simple process. Not everybody can do it, but you can hire an attorney who can do it. So you should be able to do it. Otherwise, automatically, you're not going to be aware of it. Your tax amount is going to go higher and higher. Maybe that's okay. Okay, yeah, I mean, that might be normal. But again, I'm telling, watch it, read it, consult it.
So that's called tax appeal, right?
Appeal, yeah, appeal for it.
We got to appeal for a tax because they increasing your tax and you hire a lawyer.
That's going to go up, definitely. Because this is, again, government is not making money on you. So what they're doing, they're getting the money for the services that you're getting. For that money goes to schools, libraries, police, and villages, and I don't know, fire departments, and that's come back to you. But you are sharing that cost with your neighbors. So we call it fair share. So what is your fair share? How much you should pay for that budget? Understand? That is determined by the value of your home. So if the value of the home is higher, then you are going to take more share. So that's very important item. You have to watch the value of your home, assess value of the home. So how people are determining that value. So there might be errors. We are all human beings. That's not for certain definite. That's why county is giving you an option to, appeal it, right? You're checking your neighbors' houses, the community, the bedroom size, for example, house size, square feet, bedroom numbers, bathroom numbers, and basement. These are all different factors. Maybe something is wrong. It can be all correct, but that's what I'm recommending people, that they have to be aware of it. They have to check the facts.
Understand. So that's called tax appeal. What about tax exemption? What's a tax exemption?
Exemption is this. County is giving you a discount on property taxes. That discount is, there are a couple different discounts, exemptions. One is, the most common one is homeowner exemption. If you're an investor, you are paying the most, whatever it is, you're not getting any discount.
Okay.
If you are homeowner, if you're living yourself, you're not renting, okay, then county is giving you some discount. Every county is different. They have different calculation, but for, again, with the amount of the home, the assessed value of the home, it may change, but around like $1,000, I can say $800. There's a discount on your, I'm saying discount, but the exemptions effect is that much on total property tax. The other one is a senior exemption. You should be 65 or above. If you are 65 or above and in certain income range, then county is giving you another exemption. And tax freeze is the third one, which is, again, there are some certain criteria that you have to be in. Then they are freezing your tax. It doesn't go up. Okay, if you are 65 and above, but you should consult with an attorney or with the county. If you're eligible, don't miss it.
Okay. What about I hear this term a lot, PMI. What's a PMI and how does that work?
It is insurance, again, private mortgage insurance. Since we are giving 5% down or less or more, doesn't matter, banks are getting this insurance and having you pay it, okay, for their protection. So let's say if you cannot, down the road something happens, you start missing your payments, bank needs to foreclose it. They're covering their liability. They are securing their investment. That's an investment, the money that they are giving you. So they have to protect that money because they also have investors. They are using those investors' money. So you are paying an insurance, mortgage insurance, since you are paying 5% or less than 20%. And that amount is different for everyone. No, it's not same. So there are some, again, criterias. For example, the banks, different banks, they might have good deals from insurance companies. They may charge less. And also your situation applies. For example, if you are giving more down payment, let's say 10, it's going to be a benefit for that amount. It's going to reduce that amount. If your credit score is good, that's also going to affect that amount. And again, debt ratio is, these terms may be new to some buyers, some people, but if your debt ratio is good, like let's say not on the edge, not on the border, that may also affect. So these are all different factors. This is an addition, again, an insurance payment, a kind of mandatory insurance payment.
So that's because the bank is trying to secure their money.
Yes.
They getting insurance for the money they are lending you.
Yeah.
Because you didn't pay 20%. If you have 20% down, then they don't charge.
They don't charge, yeah. Usually they don't charge. I never heard they are charging anything.
Let's say I'm trying to get some property for a rent. Can I do that? And how that does the work? Does it work like the same like a mortgage we get, or it's a little bit different?
It's an investment mortgage. Yeah, still you are getting a mortgage, but since it is going to be investment purposes, some of the terms are going to be different. For example, down payment they're probably most likely they're not going to give you that investment loan with 5% down. It can go, in my knowledge, it is 20% down. And they are not going to give with a lower interest rate, with the market rate. It's going to be investors' rate, higher, maybe 1 point, or maybe, again, it's hard to say, but it's definitely going to be higher than someone who's buying for primary home, like for the home they are going to live in. So, and the other factor might be your also, again, debt ratio calculation. It may be different. Because this is going to be second loan, you have to have more income on side to be able to cover both loans. Since you don't have anybody, it's not rented yet. If you're buying a house rented already, they may count the rent income that you're getting from, you will get that from that condo or house. So yeah, definitely it's different than you're getting a loan for yourself to live in the place.
Okay. And do you need any kind of rental insurance, like a license to rent the place?
Yes, some villages require it. There might be some villages don't require it, but rental license is not a huge deal. You are getting a class, a course from police department, and villages getting a fee, maybe $50, $100, $150 per year, and that's about it. And some villages can inspect your apartment. These are all things that you should be aware of if you're investor. Again, not every village is different, the same. They're all different.
So when you getting it as an investment, should you have a company to make it as an investment, or you can get for your individual?
So yeah, this is an option, either or. You can set up an LLC, buy that property, have the title under that put that title under that LLC, or you can buy under your name, individual name.
Okay. What's the main difference between those two?
So again, having an LLC kind of for maybe people are thinking for liability protection. They are trying to protect their other assets. If something goes bad with that property, and you can be sued, if you're sued and if you lose a lawsuit, then you're going to be liable for that person. That liability can go. I mean, these are all legal issues. Again, I'm trying to be careful answering, but overall, LLC setting up an LLC is for liability protection. I don't want to go into too much detail. And the other one is like maybe tax purposes. Later on, you can change that liabilities tax classification to different tax. So liability by default comes as like disregarded entity alone. I mean, everything's gonna be like your taxes. You're gonna file under your 1040 on either Schedule C or Schedule E, right? If you set it up different, if you wanted to set it up differently, like S corp, C corp, partnership, so LLC can do it. You understand? But on your own, if the property is under your name, you cannot do it. You have to file it under your 1040 no matter what. So that's why it's giving you more option, more chance. Probably that's why people like to go with LLCs.
Okay. If you have the house, like your primary or you're renting it, does it help with your taxes? Like, I mean, can you deduct that from your taxes?
So this is again another assumption. I keep hearing this a lot. What you're gonna deduct, let's say, it's going to be a kind of business. It's an investment. It's a business, right? You have collected, let's say, $20,000 rent or $30,000 rent. You're going to have expenses. Okay, your mortgage interest, PMIs, if you are going to pay PMI, property taxes, maintenance, legal fees, HOAs, a lot of different things, depreciation. After all these depreciation or deductions, let's say you ended up at $10,000 income. You have to pay tax. It's not related to your other incomes.
Okay, this is for investment property. What about the primary residence?
So you were asking about the primary residence then?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. This is yes and no. This is the thing. Property taxes are deductible.
Okay.
But there's a limit for the overall taxes on Schedule A. The limit is $10,000. If even you'd spend more than $10,000 for all your taxes, state taxes, property taxes, or if you go with sales taxes, doesn't matter, your total cannot be more than $10,000. Put this on side, and also your situation, your tax situation. If you're married or single or head of household, you have a standard deduction. This number, and before that, I wanted to mention about another deduction, the interest expense or charitable donations. Let's bring them all together, calculate it. Let's say you made $40,000. Instead of standard deduction, you're gonna go with this one.
Okay.
You understand? So with Schedule A, we call it itemized deduction. As a result, it's going to have a benefit, but again, sometimes it's not even reaching to your standard deduction. It doesn't affect. So you understand? You like to go with your standard deduction because a lot of times it's being more than your itemized deductions. But everybody is different. The situation, the circumstance might be different for everyone.
Okay. I understand. All right. So I think we asked most of the questions that people will be interested in. So I want to just ask one more question. If someone wants to work with you, like what they should do?
Call me.
Okay.
Call me. I wanted to give another information. After August 17, a new rules just applied to the real estate market. All real estate has changed.
Mhm.
Okay, in US before August 17, the commissions used to be paid by the seller. It was automatic, and we cannot really negotiate. We cannot say anything. It was all advertised, all disclosed on MLSs, on the websites. But now it's all hidden. You cannot see any more commissions on the websites. So right now it is mandated that we have to have an agreement with the buyers, as like what we used to be doing with the sellers before. So with the buyers, we are making an agreement, commission agreement. But since everything is negotiated, if we are still asking this amount from the seller side, we can. I don't want to say we are, but we can. What we are doing with the offer, we are asking seller to pay buyer's commission, buyer's agent's commission. Sorry. So from my perspective, not too much thing changed. You understand? Not everything is changed. It became more negotiable. It was before, for example, if it is listed 1.5 or 2 or 2.5 on a website, you would not allow to negotiate it. That was it. You have to take it. But now it's taken out of that website. You are just negotiating with the buyer. For example, if I'm the buyer agent, I'm talking with you. I'm telling that my commission is this much. I'm asking this much. If we agree, based on the condition of the market and the house listed, we can either ask it from the house, or we can say that we're not going to take any commission. This is like going above the market price, right? Giving the listed amount. For example, they're asking $200,000. You are giving $210,000 to be able to purchase it. This again being part of the contract. The seller is looking at the bottom. You understand? It's kind of different, but now we have to have an agreement with the buyers. That's what I wanted to point out, because before we were not mentioning anything at all. Like we were not making any contracts, but now it's a new rule.
Okay. Wow, that's interesting. That's it's more like on a seller side, right? The market is on a seller side.
Yes. To be honest, in my opinion, I don't want to say that, because market is being determined by like the supply and demand. Still same thing. Okay. Before, houses were just, the buyers were more than the houses being marketed. So it was on the seller side. If the things changed, it's going to be opposite.
Yeah.
So it's still same from my perspective. And if the market shifts, we don't know. So nowadays, we're not waiting a big shift, but it's probably not, again, my assumption. I don't want to, because what I learned from this business, you cannot really say anything for sure. There are a lot of different factors playing. So different gears, you understand? We are just determining our facts, our ideas by looking at couple factors. But there are maybe a million parts playing together.
Okay.
So if something changes, it could affect everything. So that's why I want to say I'm expecting maybe in the future little slowdown, but it's not a market crash, because probably it's not going to be like COVID, after COVID times, because there was a big leap those times. So maybe market is getting more balanced right now, but it doesn't mean that it's going to crash. We like balanced market better because otherwise it's so hectic for buyer and seller, believe me.
Do you also help to like find a lender, find a lawyer during this process?
All in one, yes.
Okay.
I am. This is again, a lot of times people like to work with their trusted parties. If you know an attorney personally, you like to go with it, right?
Yes.
Go with them. If you know a inspector, you like to work with him. But in our situation, if someone is a first-time buyer, they have no contacts. So what we're doing, we are going hand to hand, like from beginning to end, until they get their keys and being on their side, next to them actually, until they get their keys from the, closing table. When we walk out, we're walking out together. Then even I'm offering my clients that if you need any help, just let me know. A lot of times they're getting new paperwork, new papers, mails. They're not, sometimes even from advertisements, they're asking me like, what is this? I'm patiently answering their questions. This is this. Don't worry about it. You can do this. So our consultation is still going on even after the purchase.